Alright, I think you've had enough. Alright, we're back. I took this to a car show the other day, if you can believe it. It went on a trailer though, because it's not registered or inspected. It's pretty illegal right now, so I brought it on a trailer. And then when I got there, I covered it in magnets for my podcast that I do. I don't know if you guys listen or not, but it's called the Engine Noise Podcast. If you haven't listened, give it a shot. So today, we are going to wire up my OBD2 connector, which you can see I have a scan tool right here, connector right here, and some wires. And I'm going to hook that up because I need to know what the engine temperature is, because right now I have my fans, my cooling fans, zip-tied in place, and they're all wired, but I don't know if they're turning on at the right temperature or not. So what I want to do is I want to read the temperature with my OBD2 scanner, and then watch for the fans to turn on when it hits, like, we'll say 210 degrees or somewhere around there, because I think that's when the fans should probably turn on. I'll have to look that up to be sure, but it's probably around there. So to start off with, the red wire on the OBD2 connector goes to power. The white and the black are both grounds. And then this brown one, apparently I don't need. And then there's this purple one, which I'll actually show you where these go. So if you hold the connector like this, apparently the purple one, which is pin 2 I think, right here, that one is the serial port. Then there's the two grounds, right here, the black and the white connector. Then down here on the bottom right is the red, which is constant power all the time. And then there's the brown wire, which I'm told I don't need. So I am going to hook that up to this wire. So a long time ago when I was wiring this, I listed it as J158, which means it's the J1 big connector and pin 58. Then I wrote serial on it. Not because I love serial or I like the serial podcast, but because this is the serial port. So I am just going to basically connect this to this purple wire right here and hook up. I'm just going to basically stuff these onto the power and ground of the battery and see if the OBD2 port connector works. Then if it does, then I'm going to wire it up all pretty and somehow get it inside the vehicle. But for right now, I just want to sort of slap it together under the hood and see if it actually works. So let's do it. Alright, so this is super sketchy. I have the two grounds held on with this battery tender clamp, and then I have the red hooked on with that battery tender clamp. I have the brown not hooked up, and then I have the green and the purple just twisted together right here. So, you can see my OBD2 scanner lit up, so that's a heck of a start. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the key on and see what happens. Is this a 2003 Silverado? Yes, it is. Special? We'll go with no ABS. All right. Reading codes. Oh look, all my monitors are good. Oh. No codes. All right. So let's go to view data. We'll go entire data list. Holy moly. I think we have some data. Coolant, 70. Intake air temperature, 73. That sounds right. Wow, I can't believe how easy that was. That actually works. Okay, so now I'm going to back the car out of the garage, and I'm going to run it for a little bit and see if these cooling fans turn on. Hopefully I don't nuke the head gaskets in the process. All right, let's do it. Let's watch this temperature. 95, 97, 99. Getting hot. Are you getting nervous? I'm getting a little nervous. 208. How high do I let it go before I decide that there's a problem? Boiling. Okay, I'm willing to give in now. Alright, it's off. I'll keep the key on though in case the fans want to turn on. The thing is, there's still no coolant. There's still no hot coolant going through these, which makes me think maybe the thermostat is stuck closed, which would not be great. Strange. Huh. I don't know. Do I just let it go a little further? Am I that crazy? 239. It's pretty hot. Heater hoses are warm. Thermostat housing is actually not that hot though. Huh. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to try is I just made a jumper wire. And I just pulled the relay out of one of the fans, and I'm going to try and jump the 87 and 30 terminal, and we're going to see if the fan turns on. And that will tell me if there's at least power going to the relay to power up the fan. So let's do this. Alright, that's in there. Oop. Okay, so that one's got power. So, now the question is, do these other terminals have ground on one side, and is the PCM feeding it power on the other? Or, I wonder if it's supposed to have power. Oh, I might have screwed up this wiring. I wonder if the PCM grounds the circuit or powers it, because I might have hooked up the wrong thing. I might have put a ground on one side instead of a power and screwed up the relay. Alright, so let me do a little wiring diagram searching, and I will see what's next. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my multimeter and stab it into this fuse box, and I'm going to see if I wired the relay wrong. So this one, you can tell, is grounded. If I turned it to ohms, and I have the ground here, and you can tell that these are connected because they ohm out. Okay, so both do. Interesting. Okay, so that leads me to believe that the computer is grounding the circuit, and I provided ground to a circuit, and if you ground on both sides of a circuit, you're going to get nothing. So I need to provide power to the other side, which means I need to pull this fuse box off. All right, let's do it. Alright, so let me explain again what exactly happened here. 30 is the power that comes in from the fuse, from the battery, and feeds pin 87, which goes to the fan. But that little switch isn't flicked over until 86 and 85 are connected. So on one side of that, on either 85 or 86 has to be a ground, and either 85 or 86 needs to be a power. The problem was that the computer was 85 and it was grounding the circuit, but I had 86 hooked up to a ground as well. So now I have 86 going to a power, so when the computer grounds 85, it will pull the switch over and connect 87 to 30. So before I wire this in for real, I'm just going to test it out. I'm going to put this back in to start with, because you got to have the relay for it to work. So I just basically added this extra wire, and it's just a power wire. Again, just basically hooked onto the battery. And now I'm going to run the car again, and I'm going to watch the temperature, and hopefully the fans will turn on. Okay, let's try it. You won't believe this. The fans just turned on. How great is that? Looks like it was probably 205 degrees when they turned on. That's fantastic. A little bit more. Oop. Alright, I'm back in the garage, and here's the deal. First, Bacardi and Coke. Second, the problem that I'm having now is the fans are all working great. They turn on exactly when they're supposed to, which is awesome. But the basically the engine is overheating. I got it up to like 250 degrees or something ridiculous. And the engine just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So the problem is that the hot coolant is not going through this hose or that hose. And I'm thinking that it could be two different problems. The first problem is the thermostat might be stuck closed. And if the thermostat's stuck closed, then you can't get any coolant through the whole cooling system, because that's just how it works. The other problem is that maybe the radiator is too low in the car, and this pipe is higher than the radiator. And I think that is plausible if you look at it. I don't know if it's visible on camera or not, but I think that this is actually higher than the radiator, and therefore there's probably a giant air bubble in this pipe. And I think that that may be a factor as well. So what I might do once everything is nice and cool is I might try and lower this pipe a bit. Basically, I'm going to undo this clamp, and I'm going to shove this hose further down the pipe and just try and lower this whole thing. And if I can make that work, then hopefully the whole hose will be lower, and hopefully it will be full of fluid instead of full of air. Because I think what's actually happened is the engine isn't really overheating. The engine is full of air pockets, and the air pockets are near the temp sensor, and therefore the temp sensor thinks that the engine is like, 250 degrees when it really isn't. I use this thing all the time. By the way, if you don't have one of these, you should get one because they're awesome. You can diagnose a lot of stuff with one of these digital temperature thermometer things. So I shot this all over the engine. You can see. You can basically shoot it wherever you want, and it'll tell you what the temperature is. And I shot this all over the engine, and the engine itself was around 200 degrees, which is not a big deal. But the temperature on the OBD2 gauge was like 250 or something absolutely insane. So that's why I think it was just an air pocket, because the engine would have been very pissed off if it was actually 250 degrees. So, moral is, I'm going to work on this hose next, and I'm going to, once I sort that out and make that lower than the radiator, then I'm going to probably fight with a thermostat. I'm really not looking forward to dumping all the antifreeze out of this, So I'm gonna try and avoid that as much as possible. And if I can't avoid that, then I will dump all the antifreeze out and I'll change the thermostat. The thermostat might be new or it might be old. I really don't know. When I bought this engine, my friend was using it in another engine swap project. And I don't know if he changed the thermostat in it. I'm probably going to give him a call after I make this video and find out. So, we're wrapping up for today. That's where we stand. Le Mans is still awesome. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate all you guys that have subscribed. Be sure to tell a friend. And I guess we'll see you next time. All right, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful week.